Greetings and salutations. I'm going to be showing you today how to create some simple animations, and we're going to take inspiration from this simple machine, starting with the wheel and axle. I created this little animation using Adobe Animate, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it right now. I'm going to create a spinning gear. So we're going to go to Adobe Animate, File, New, HTML5 canvas, 24 frames per second, full HD. And we're going to change it to about 40% so we can see the whole stage. And we're going to create a wheel. So actually, I'm going to create a gear. So let me make a circle by using the oval tool. I'm going to hit the Option or Alt if you're on a PC key and the Shift key, and I'm going to just pull out a perfect circle. Now I'm going to go to my line tool, and I'm going to go over here to the properties menu, and I want to pick the color that's the same as the circle, and I've made my stroke, I'm going to say about, I'll make it 50, okay? So 50 pixels wide. So I'm going to use my line tool, and I'm going to just create a line here, a line here, a line here. Very short little lines. You don't want to make the lines go all the way through. You just want them at the edge. And there's my little gear. It kind of looks like a little bit of a sun. So I'm going to go back to my circle tool. I'm going to change the outline to having no outline. And I want to change the fill to a different color. There we go. Now using the Option and Shift key, or Alt and Shift key if you're on a PC, just pull out a little circle. That's the middle of the gear. Now I'm going to take this entire thing, and I'm going to take the selection tool, select the whole thing, and I'm going to right click and turn it into a motion tween. Okay, so now I'm going to hide the properties menu. I don't need it right now. I'm going to go to the very beginning of my little story, and I'm going to make my gear come off the edge of the page. Now, I want my animation to take about 10 seconds. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to take my gear and I'm going to drag it to the end of the 10 seconds. So it's just flying across the page. So it looks like that. And now at the end of the 10 seconds, I'm going to take this gear and I'm going to use this free transform tool, and I'm going to spin the gear all the way around to the right a whole bunch of times. So what should happen is it's going to look like the gear is turning as it goes across the stage. So let's see. Hopefully that worked. And it does look like it is slowly spinning a little bit as it goes across the stage. I'm going to make it spin a little more. So I'm going to go to the middle of my story, click on it, and I'm going to have it spin a little bit more to the right. So it should spin to the right. And then I'm going to go a little farther and spin it again to the right. And you see these little dots on the timeline that show that it's spinning. So let's see how it looks now. Later in the year, I'll be teaching you another method for making it spin exactly the way you want, but for now, this is good enough. I'm going to lock this layer, and I'm now going to create another layer, and I'm going to go to the beginning of my story, and I'm going to go to the top of my page, and I'm going to create a little ball, little orange ball. Okay? So I'm going to hold my Option and Shift keys so the ball is a perfect circle, and there it is. Right click, create motion tween. Okay, so now At this point, I'm going to have my ball fall. And it's falling, and it just misses my gear entirely and goes off the edge of the paper. So I'm going to lock this layer, and I'm going to create another ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the very beginning of my story. I'm going to create a motion tween, and I'm going to have this ball hit my gear here. And what happens is as the gear moves, I'm going to have the ball move. I'm just speeding up this process real quick to show you how it was done. So what's going to happen is, let's see if this works. And I like it, except there's one little spot that's bothering me. There. It needs to be a little higher to interact with the... There. So let's see. Okay, so when I'm done with this, I would go back and I would add the squash and stretch to the ball so that it's stretched out as it's falling and squashes when it lands. I'm going to name it File, Save As. I'm going to call it Gear Experiment. And I'm going to do File, Export, Export Video, Export. And now I have a little video of my gear experiment. So if I go to my downloads, the final version should have the extension .mp4. So it'll say gear experiment.mp4, and that's what you turn in.